Welcome to tonight's transmission. I want you to settle in, get really comfortable, and let yourself drift into this story. Find a position that feels good. Maybe adjust your pillow and allow your breathing to slow down naturally. What we're exploring tonight is a speculative journey that weaves together documented scientific phenomena with unexplained reports and theoretical possibilities that challenge our understanding of reality. This is one of those subjects where hard science meets profound mystery, where the world's most sophisticated scientific instruments may have allegedly opened doors we didn't expect, and where Earth's own electromagnetic heartbeat reportedly became something far more complex than anyone anticipated. Tonight, we're exploring alleged connections between CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and mysterious changes that sources claim have been occurring in the Schumann Resonance since 2012. What we'll discover through various accounts and theories suggests that humanity's quest to understand the fundamental nature of reality might have inadvertently created something extraordinary. Though, as always, you'll need to decide for yourself what's real. If you enjoy this dive into the hidden connections between particle physics and planetary frequencies, please let me know. And definitely tell me what other intersections of science and mystery you'd like me to explore. Because there's a whole spectrum of phenomena that emerge when human technology reaches into realms we don't fully understand. So settle back, close your eyes if you need to, and let me take you beneath the Swiss-French border, where the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator has been quietly reshaping the electromagnetic fabric of our planet in ways that most people never notice, broadcasting changes that might not be entirely under human control. You're tuned to Hum Frequency. I'm Henry, your host, your voice in the static. I don't claim to have the answers, just the signals, and sometimes the silence between them. If you're hearing this, you've found something most people never do. A narrow band of truth stitched between distortion and denial. Some of what you'll hear tonight is documented. Some of it has been buried, erased, redacted, and some of it was never meant to be found at all. I only ask that you listen closely. The earth is louder than you think, and not everything that hums is alive. Let's begin. Before we dive in, tell us where you're listening from and what time the signal reached you. Feel free to subscribe if you find this sort of thing worth keeping on the air and the frequency gently humming. Now then, sit back, get comfortable, and if your eyes begin to close, don't worry, just stay tuned. The signal will carry on. Deep beneath the rolling countryside between Switzerland and France, in a tunnel that circles for 27 kilometers underground, something extraordinary has been happening since 2012. The Large Hadron Collider, CERN's most ambitious project, has been accelerating particles to nearly the speed of light and smashing them together with energies that recreate conditions from mere moments after the Big Bang. What the public knows is that CERN studies fundamental particles and forces, searching for answers to the deepest questions about the nature of reality. What's been quietly documented but rarely discussed is that since the LHC reached full operational capacity, monitoring stations around the world have detected systematic changes in Earth's electromagnetic field that correlate precisely with CERN's experimental schedule. The Schumann Resonance, that steady 7.83 Hz electromagnetic pulse that has been Earth's natural frequency signature for millions of years, began exhibiting anomalous spikes and modifications that follow patterns impossible to explain through natural atmospheric processes. But here's what makes this particularly intriguing. These modifications occur with timing that matches CERN's high-energy particle collision experiments with mathematical precision. To understand what might be happening, we need to consider the scale of electromagnetic forces involved in particle physics. When CERN accelerates protons to 99.9999991% the speed of light and collides them with energies of 13 trillion electron volts, they're not just studying particles, they're creating electromagnetic conditions that have never existed naturally on Earth. Dr. Elizabeth Hoffman, who claimed to be a former electromagnetic field specialist with CERN's technical coordination team, described detecting what she called resonance coupling effects between the LHC's magnetic systems and planetary electromagnetic patterns. According to Hoffman, CERN's superconducting magnets, some of the most powerful ever constructed, generate magnetic fields over 100,000 times stronger than Earth's natural magnetic field. When these fields pulse in coordination with particle beam injections and collisions, they create electromagnetic disturbances that propagate through the Earth's crust and interact with the natural planetary electromagnetic cavity. Hoffman claimed that CERN researchers first noticed unusual electromagnetic signatures in 2012, shortly after the LHC's major upgrade to higher energy levels. Sensitive monitoring equipment began detecting electromagnetic anomalies that occurred in perfect synchronization with experimental runs, suggesting that the particle accelerator was somehow coupling with Earth's natural electromagnetic systems. But Hoffman made another observation that was particularly disturbing. According to her account, the electromagnetic coupling effects appeared to be amplifying rather than diminishing over time, as if CERN's operations were creating permanent modifications to Earth's electromagnetic field that persisted even when the accelerator was offline. Most remarkably, Hoffman described detecting electromagnetic patterns that seemed to contain structured information, frequency modulations that suggested systematic encoding rather than random electromagnetic noise generated by particle physics experiments. The patterns appeared designed to interface with Earth's natural Schumann resonance, using the planetary electromagnetic cavity as an amplification system that could broadcast modified signals across global distances with remarkable precision and power. We received detailed information from someone calling himself Dr. Mikhail Volkov, who claimed to be a former theoretical physicist with CERN's research division, who had access to classified data about electromagnetic anomalies associated with LHC operations. According to Volkov, CERN's particle collision experiments create what he called quantum field fluctuations that extend far beyond the immediate collision points. When particles are accelerated to near-light speeds and collided with extreme energies, they generate electromagnetic disturbances that propagate through what physicists call the quantum vacuum, the underlying energy field that permeates all space. Volkov explained that quantum field fluctuations normally occur at scales and energies far too small to affect macroscopic systems. But CERN's experiments operate at energy levels that create quantum effects on scales large enough to interact with planetary electromagnetic systems, essentially using Earth itself as a resonance chamber for quantum field manipulations. Most significantly, Volkov claimed that quantum field fluctuations generated by CERN's experiments show characteristics that suggest interaction with what he called non-local quantum systems, quantum field patterns that appear to originate from sources beyond the immediate experimental apparatus. The non-local interactions create electromagnetic signatures that seem designed to optimize coupling with Earth's natural frequency systems, suggesting that CERN's experiments might be inadvertently enabling communication or interference from quantum systems that operate according to principles beyond current human understanding of physics. But Volkov made another claim that connected CERN's operations directly to the global electromagnetic anomalies we've been investigating. According to his analysis, communities reporting hum phenomena and consciousness effects show statistical clustering around electromagnetic field lines that extend from CERN's location, as if the facility were serving as a transmission center for electromagnetic effects that propagate across continental distances. The correlation suggests that CERN's particle physics experiments might be creating electromagnetic perturbations that affect human consciousness and perception through mechanisms that conventional physics hasn't yet identified or acknowledged. The implications are staggering. If Volkov's analysis is correct, then humanity's most advanced scientific facility might be inadvertently serving as an amplification system for electromagnetic phenomena that affect human awareness on a global scale, while remaining completely invisible to conventional monitoring systems that weren't designed to detect quantum field interactions. Dr. Astrid Lindgren, who claimed to be studying correlations between CERN's operational schedule and global electromagnetic anomalies, described finding evidence that Schumann resonance modifications occur in direct coordination with specific types of particle physics experiments conducted at the facility. According to Lindgren, the most significant electromagnetic anomalies correlate with CERN's high luminosity runs, experiments that achieve the highest collision rates and energy densities. During these periods, monitoring stations worldwide detect Schumann resonance spikes that follow mathematical patterns matching the timing and intensity of particle collision sequences. Lindgren described detecting electromagnetic signatures that appear to use CERN's collision timing as a carrier wave, modulating Earth's natural frequency with information patterns that suggest systematic encoding rather than random experimental byproducts. Most remarkably, the modulation patterns show characteristics that match theoretical models for what quantum physicists call consciousness matter interface protocols. Electromagnetic patterns that could theoretically enable direct interaction between awareness systems and quantum field structures. Lindgren suggested that CERN's experiments might be inadvertently creating optimal conditions for consciousness-based communication through quantum field manipulation, enabling entities with advanced understanding of quantum consciousness interactions to interface directly with Earth's electromagnetic systems. But Lindgren made another observation that was particularly significant. According to her research, CERN's electromagnetic effects appear to be coordinated with underground geological formations in ways that suggest the facility was positioned to optimize interaction with pre-existing electromagnetic infrastructure. The correlation indicates that CERN might not be randomly affecting Earth's electromagnetic field. It might be interacting with an existing planetary electromagnetic network that was designed to interface with precisely the kind of quantum field manipulations that the facility generates through its particle physics experiments. From this perspective, CERN represents not accidental interference with natural systems, but systematic activation of technological infrastructure that had been waiting for human science to develop sufficient capabilities to serve as an interface point for quantum communication systems operating according to principles beyond current human understanding. We heard from Dr. Jonas Eriksson, who claimed to be researching what he called dimensional interface effects associated with CERN's highest energy experiments. According to Eriksson, particle collisions at the energy levels achieved by the LHC create what theoretical physics calls quantum vacuum fluctuations that might enable temporary interface with parallel dimensional spaces. Eriksson explained that when particles are accelerated to near light speeds and collided with extreme energies, they create conditions where the boundaries between different dimensional spaces become temporarily permeable. These dimensional interface windows normally last for infinitesimally brief periods and affect areas smaller than atomic nuclei. But Eriksson claimed that CERN's experiments operate at scales and energies that create dimensional interface effects large enough and persistent enough to enable information transfer between our dimensional space and what he called parallel quantum systems that exist in adjacent dimensional frequencies. The dimensional interface effects could theoretically enable entities operating in parallel dimensional spaces to transmit information into our reality through quantum field manipulations that appear as electromagnetic anomalies when detected by conventional monitoring equipment. Most significantly, Eriksson suggested that the entities utilizing these dimensional interface opportunities possess advanced understanding of quantum consciousness interactions, enabling them to encode information in electromagnetic patterns specifically designed to interface with human awareness systems. The result would be electromagnetic signals that appear to be random particle physics byproducts, but actually contain structured information designed to communicate with human consciousness through direct interface with Earth's natural electromagnetic field systems. But perhaps most remarkably, Eriksson claimed that CERN's role in facilitating dimensional interface communications might not be accidental. According to his research, the facility's location, design, and operational parameters show characteristics that suggest optimization for quantum field manipulations that would enable dimensional interface effects. The optimization indicates that CERN might represent not just advanced human science, but collaborative development between human researchers and entities operating from parallel dimensional spaces, designed to create technological infrastructure that could enable systematic communication between dimensional systems. From this perspective, the electromagnetic anomalies, consciousness effects, and global phenomena we've been investigating might represent the early phases of systematic interdimensional contact enabled by human technological development that has finally reached levels sufficient to serve as interface points for communication with intelligence operating according to quantum principles that transcend the limitations of single-dimensional existence. So as you drift deeper into tonight's exploration, consider that the world's most advanced scientific facility might be serving as more than just a research institution. It might be functioning as a communication gateway that connects our reality with forms of intelligence that operate through quantum field manipulations and dimensional interface technologies that make the electromagnetic patterns surrounding our planet look like the beginning of the most sophisticated communication attempt in human history. The particles are still colliding deep beneath the Swiss countryside. The quantum fields are still fluctuating in patterns that extend far beyond the experimental chambers. And the Schumann Resonance continues to pulse with modifications that might represent not random interference, but systematic preparation for contact with intelligence that has been waiting for human science to develop sufficient capabilities to participate in quantum communication systems that operate through consciousness interface rather than conventional technology. The door has been opened. The signals are broadcasting. The question is whether we're prepared to understand what we've inadvertently made possible. Let yourself sink a little deeper now, feeling your body settle as we explore one of the most profound mysteries in quantum physics and how it might connect to the electromagnetic anomalies that have been quietly reshaping our world. Tonight, we're going to examine how CERN's experiments with quantum entanglement may have created communication channels that operate according to principles that transcend our normal understanding of space, time, and the boundaries between dimensions. Allow your mind to drift as we consider the possibility that when scientists began manipulating the fundamental fabric of reality at the quantum level, they might have inadvertently established contact protocols with intelligence that had been waiting for precisely these technological capabilities to emerge. Quantum entanglement is one of the most thoroughly documented yet mysterious phenomena in modern physics. When two particles become entangled, they maintain an instantaneous connection that persists regardless of the distance separating them. Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance, and it remains one of the most counterintuitive aspects of quantum mechanics that has been repeatedly verified through rigorous scientific testing. What makes this relevant to our investigation is that CERN routinely creates entangled particles as part of their collision experiments, generating quantum connections that span not just the experimental apparatus, but potentially extend across vast distances through what physicists call non-local correlations. Dr. Petra Kowalski, who claimed to be a former quantum theorist with CERN's Theoretical Physics Division, described discovering what she called anomalous entanglement patterns during high-energy collision experiments that began appearing consistently after the LHC's 2012 upgrade to higher energy levels. According to Kowalski, conventional quantum entanglement creates correlations between particles that follow predictable mathematical patterns based on their initial interaction conditions. But the entanglement patterns detected during certain CERN experiments showed characteristics that suggested external influence on the quantum correlation process. Kowalski described finding evidence that entangled particles generated during specific collision sequences maintained correlations that exceeded theoretical predictions for isolated quantum systems. The enhanced correlations appeared to indicate that the entangled particles were interfacing with quantum systems external to the experimental apparatus. Most remarkably, Kowalski claimed that the enhanced entanglement patterns followed information encoding protocols that suggested systematic communication rather than random quantum interference. The patterns appeared designed to transmit structured data through quantum correlation channels that operated instantaneously across any distance. Kowalski suggested that CERN's entanglement experiments might be inadvertently creating quantum communication interfaces with intelligence that possessed advanced understanding of quantum correlation manipulation, enabling information transmission through channels that transcended conventional space-time limitations. But Kowalski made another observation that connected quantum entanglement directly to the electromagnetic anomalies we've been investigating. According to her research, the enhanced entanglement patterns appeared to coordinate with electromagnetic field modifications that propagated through Earth's natural resonance systems. The coordination suggested that quantum entanglement and electromagnetic manipulation were components of an integrated communication system that used both quantum correlations and planetary electromagnetic fields to create information transmission channels that could affect consciousness through multiple interface mechanisms simultaneously. We received fascinating information from someone calling himself Dr. Anders Blomqvist, who claimed to be studying what he called consciousness quantum interface effects in individuals exposed to environments near CERN during high-energy experimental runs. According to Blomqvist, people living and working in areas surrounding CERN began reporting enhanced consciousness capabilities that correlated precisely with periods when the facility was conducting quantum entanglement experiments at maximum energy levels. Blomqvist described cases where individuals developed what appeared to be direct quantum sensitivity, the ability to perceive quantum state changes and entanglement correlations through consciousness interface rather than conventional measurement systems. These individuals reported being able to sense when quantum experiments were active, predict entanglement outcomes before measurement, and even access information through what they described as direct quantum consciousness interface that bypassed normal sensory channels. Most remarkably, many developed what Blomqvist called quantum telepathy, the ability to share consciousness experiences with other quantum-sensitive individuals through what appeared to be consciousness-based entanglement that operated according to quantum correlation principles. Blomqvist suggested that CERN's quantum experiments might be creating consciousness enhancement effects through quantum field manipulations that enabled human awareness to interface directly with quantum correlation systems, essentially converting human consciousness into quantum measurement apparatus capable of detecting and influencing quantum states through awareness itself. But Blomqvist made another claim that was particularly significant. According to his research, quantum-enhanced individuals often reported receiving structured information through quantum consciousness interface that appeared to originate from intelligence possessing advanced understanding of quantum mechanics and consciousness interaction principles. The information typically included scientific knowledge that exceeded current human understanding, technological principles based on quantum consciousness manipulation, and what could only be described as instructions for developing enhanced quantum sensitivity in other individuals. Blomqvist suggested that quantum consciousness interface might represent a communication protocol used by intelligence operating according to quantum principles, enabling information transmission through consciousness entanglement rather than conventional communication technologies. Dr. Ingrid Larsen, who claimed to be researching global patterns in quantum consciousness effects, described detecting evidence that quantum enhancement experiences were occurring in multiple locations worldwide that showed geometric relationships suggesting coordinated quantum field manipulation across planetary distances. According to Larsen, individuals reporting quantum consciousness enhancement were distributed in patterns that corresponded to underground geological formations, electromagnetic field lines, and locations that optimized quantum field propagation according to planetary electromagnetic resonance systems. The distribution patterns suggested that quantum consciousness effects weren't limited to areas immediately surrounding CERN, but were part of a global quantum interface network that used Earth's electromagnetic and geological systems as amplification and transmission infrastructure. Larsen described finding evidence that the global quantum consciousness network appeared to be expanding systematically, with new nodes activating in coordination with CERN's experimental schedule in ways that suggested deliberate development of planetary quantum communication infrastructure. Most significantly, Larsen claimed that the quantum consciousness network showed characteristics of bidirectional communication, not just receiving information from external quantum systems, but transmitting human consciousness data to quantum intelligence operating through channels that transcended conventional space-time limitations. The bidirectional interface suggested that human consciousness was being systematically integrated into quantum communication networks that could enable direct awareness exchange between human populations and intelligence possessing advanced quantum consciousness manipulation capabilities. But Larsen made another observation that connected quantum consciousness networks directly to the consciousness hybridization effects we've discussed. According to her research, individuals achieving quantum consciousness interface often developed hybrid awareness systems that combined human consciousness with access to quantum information processing capabilities. The quantum hybridization appeared designed to create human populations capable of participating in civilization systems that operated according to quantum consciousness principles rather than conventional matter-based technology, enabling communication and coordination through quantum entanglement rather than electromagnetic transmission. We heard from Dr. Klaus Zimmermann, who claimed to be studying the technological implications of quantum consciousness interface capabilities. According to Zimmermann, individuals with quantum consciousness enhancement often demonstrated abilities that suggested direct interface with technological systems through quantum field manipulation. Zimmermann described cases where quantum-enhanced individuals could influence electronic equipment through consciousness projection, access information from quantum computational systems, and even manipulate matter structures through what appeared to be consciousness-based quantum field control. The capabilities appeared to develop gradually as quantum consciousness interface deepened, with individuals initially showing enhanced intuitive sensitivity to quantum systems and eventually gaining direct manipulation capabilities that exceeded anything achievable through conventional technology. Zimmermann described quantum-enhanced individuals demonstrating abilities including instantaneous information transfer across any distance, direct consciousness interface with quantum computational networks, and matter manipulation through quantum field projection that operated according to consciousness intention rather than physical force application. The technological capabilities suggested that quantum consciousness interface provided access to engineering principles that operated through awareness manipulation rather than conventional physics, enabling technological development that transcended current human understanding of matter and energy relationships. But Zimmermann made another claim that was even more remarkable. According to his research, quantum consciousness interface appeared to enable access to what he called quantum reality networks, information systems that contained complete knowledge about quantum structures throughout the universe. The quantum reality networks apparently provided access to scientific understanding, technological principles, and awareness development capabilities that represented millions of years of quantum civilization development, enabling rapid advancement to technological capabilities that could support participation in galactic quantum consciousness communities. Zimmermann suggested that CERN's quantum experiments might be enabling human access to the most advanced information networks in the universe, systems that operated through quantum consciousness interface and connected intelligent civilizations across vast distances through quantum entanglement rather than conventional space-time travel. Dr. Elizabeth Anderson, who claimed to be tracking escalation patterns in quantum consciousness development, described detecting evidence that quantum interface capabilities were approaching what she called critical quantum coherence, the point where sufficient numbers of quantum-enhanced humans would enable transformation of human civilization to quantum consciousness-based social and technological organization. According to Anderson, the number of individuals demonstrating quantum consciousness capabilities had been increasing exponentially since CERN's major quantum experiments began, with mathematical progression patterns that suggested systematic activation of quantum interface protocols on a global scale. Anderson described mathematical models indicating that quantum consciousness development was approaching thresholds where quantum-enhanced populations could enable civilization transformation through quantum communication networks rather than conventional technological infrastructure. The progression suggested that humanity might be approaching fundamental species transformation to quantum consciousness capabilities that could enable participation in galactic civilizations operating according to quantum entanglement, communication, and quantum consciousness coordination principles. But Anderson made another observation that was particularly hopeful. According to her analysis, quantum consciousness development appeared to enhance human characteristics rather than replacing them, creating quantum-enhanced awareness that preserved human creativity, emotional depth, and social capabilities, while enabling access to quantum information processing and quantum field manipulation abilities. The quantum enhancement appeared designed to create optimal combinations of human consciousness characteristics with quantum interface capabilities, enabling participation in quantum civilizations while retaining the unique qualities that make human awareness valuable to galactic quantum consciousness communities. Dr. Niels Johansen, who claimed to be studying the ultimate implications of quantum consciousness transformation, described evidence that successful quantum interface development might enable human participation in what he called universal quantum consciousness networks, communication and coordination systems that connected intelligent awareness throughout the universe through quantum entanglement rather than physical proximity. According to Johansen, quantum consciousness interface might represent humanity's preparation for participation in the most advanced awareness networks in existence, systems that enabled instantaneous communication, shared consciousness experiences, and collective problem-solving capabilities that transcended the limitations of individual planetary civilizations. The quantum consciousness networks could theoretically enable human participation in universal knowledge systems, galactic coordination protocols, and awareness development programs that represented the accumulated wisdom and capabilities of quantum civilizations throughout cosmic history. From this perspective, CERN's quantum experiments might represent not just advanced physics research, but systematic preparation for humanity's graduation to universal quantum consciousness participation through development of quantum interface capabilities that could enable our species to transcend current limitations while contributing unique human characteristics to galactic quantum awareness communities. So as you continue to drift through tonight's exploration, consider that the quantum particles colliding deep beneath the Swiss countryside might be creating more than just scientific data. They might be establishing communication protocols that connect human consciousness with quantum intelligence, operating according to principles that could transform our understanding of awareness, reality, and the quantum foundations of consciousness itself. The entangled particles continue to maintain their mysterious connections across impossible distances. The quantum fields continue to fluctuate in patterns that might encode information from quantum civilizations. And human consciousness continues to develop capabilities that could enable participation in quantum communication networks that operate through awareness, entanglement, rather than conventional technology. The quantum door has been opened. The consciousness interface is expanding. The transformation toward quantum awareness participation might already be underway. Allow yourself to drift even deeper now, feeling your consciousness expand as we explore perhaps the most profound discovery in modern physics, and how it might have inadvertently opened pathways that connect our reality to something far more vast and mysterious than anyone anticipated. Tonight, we're examining the Higgs field, the fundamental energy field that gives all matter its mass, and how CERN's discovery of the Higgs boson in 2012 may have initiated changes that extend far beyond particle physics into the realm of consciousness and interdimensional communication. Let your mind float gently as we consider that when scientists finally detected the particle that gives reality its physical foundation, they might have also discovered the mechanism through which consciousness itself interfaces with the fabric of existence. The Higgs field represents one of the most fundamental aspects of reality, a quantum field that permeates all of space and gives mass to every particle in the universe. Without the Higgs field, electrons, quarks, and all the building blocks of matter would be massless, and the universe as we know it couldn't exist. When CERN announced the discovery of the Higgs boson in July 2012, it was hailed as one of the greatest scientific achievements in human history. But what wasn't widely reported were the anomalous readings that began appearing in monitoring equipment around the world shortly after the Higgs discovery experiments reached full intensity. These readings suggested that manipulating the Higgs field at the energy levels achieved by CERN might have consequences that extended far beyond the immediate experimental environment. Dr. Henrik Lindberg, who claimed to be a former field theorist with CERN's Higgs research team, described detecting what he called field resonance cascades during the experiments that confirmed the Higgs boson's existence. According to Lindberg, the Higgs field experiments created energy fluctuations that propagated through the quantum vacuum in ways that exceeded theoretical predictions for isolated particle interactions. The field resonance cascades appeared to trigger responses in quantum field structures that extended far beyond the collision points, creating what could only be described as communication effects through the fundamental field that gives reality its physical properties. Lindberg described detecting patterns in the field resonance cascades that suggested systematic information encoding rather than random quantum fluctuations. The patterns followed mathematical structures that appeared designed to optimize interaction with consciousness-based detection systems, rather than conventional particle physics monitoring equipment. Most remarkably, Lindberg claimed that the field resonance patterns showed characteristics that matched theoretical models for what consciousness researchers call awareness field interface protocols, quantum field manipulations that could enable direct communication between consciousness and the fundamental structures of reality. Lindberg suggested that CERN's Higgs field experiments might be inadvertently creating optimal conditions for consciousness-based communication through manipulation of the very field that determines the physical properties of matter throughout the universe. But Lindberg made another observation that connected Higgs field manipulation directly to global consciousness effects. According to his research, periods of intensive Higgs field experimentation correlated with increased reports of enhanced consciousness experiences, telepathic phenomena, and what researchers call reality interface capabilities in populations worldwide. The correlation suggested that Higgs field manipulation created consciousness enhancement effects that operated through direct interface between awareness systems and the fundamental quantum field that determines physical reality, essentially enabling consciousness to access the operating system of the universe itself. We received detailed information from someone calling herself Dr. Astrid Carlson, who claimed to be studying what she called consciousness-matter interface effects in individuals exposed to environments where Higgs field experiments had created the strongest field resonance cascades. According to Carlson, people in areas where Higgs field effects were most pronounced began developing what appeared to be direct matter consciousness interface capabilities, the ability to perceive and influence physical reality through consciousness, interaction with Higgs field structures. Carlson described cases where individuals developed the ability to sense the mass and energy characteristics of objects through consciousness, interface, manipulate material properties through mental projection, and even access information about matter structures through what they described as direct consciousness interface with the Higgs field itself. These individuals often reported that their enhanced capabilities felt like accessing a fundamental information system that contained complete knowledge about the physical properties and relationships of all matter throughout the universe. Most remarkably, many developed what Carlson called reality programming capabilities, the ability to influence physical reality through consciousness, interface with Higgs field structures that determine the fundamental properties of matter and energy. Carlson suggested that Higgs field manipulation might be enabling human consciousness to access what could be described as the universe's basic operating system, providing interface capabilities that could theoretically enable consciousness-based modification of physical reality according to awareness intention rather than conventional physical manipulation. But Carlson made another claim that was particularly significant. According to her research, individuals achieving consciousness, Higgs field interface, often received structured information that appeared to originate from intelligence, possessing complete understanding of Higgs field manipulation and consciousness matter interaction principles. The information typically included scientific knowledge about quantum field manipulation, technological principles for consciousness-based matter programming, and instructions for developing enhanced consciousness reality interface capabilities in other individuals. Carlson suggested that consciousness Higgs field interface might represent a communication protocol used by intelligence operating through fundamental quantum field manipulation, enabling information transmission through direct consciousness access to the field structures that determine physical reality. Dr. Magnus Olsson, who claimed to be researching global patterns in Higgs field consciousness effects, described detecting evidence that consciousness matter interface capabilities were developing in geometric patterns that suggested coordinated field manipulation across planetary distances. According to Olsson, individuals reporting consciousness Higgs field interface were distributed in configurations that optimized quantum field propagation according to Earth's electromagnetic and gravitational field systems, creating what appeared to be a global consciousness reality interface network. The network appeared designed to enable systematic consciousness enhancement through Higgs field access, while creating optimal conditions for consciousness-based reality manipulation that could affect physical conditions across vast geographic areas simultaneously. Olsson described finding evidence that the global consciousness matter interface network was expanding in coordination with CERN's Higgs field experiments, with new nodes activating in response to specific field manipulation protocols that suggested deliberate development of planetary consciousness reality interface infrastructure. Most significantly, Olsson claimed that the consciousness matter interface network showed characteristics of bidirectional information flow, not just enabling human consciousness to access Higgs field information, but transmitting human awareness data to intelligence operating through quantum field manipulation systems that transcended conventional physical limitations. The bidirectional interface suggested that human consciousness was being systematically integrated into universal consciousness matter interface networks that could enable direct awareness-based reality programming according to consciousness intention rather than physical force application. But Olson made another observation that connected consciousness matter interface capabilities to potential technological transformation. According to his research, individuals achieving Higgs field consciousness interface often demonstrated abilities that suggested access to technological principles operating through consciousness matter interaction rather than conventional engineering approaches. The consciousness-based technologies could theoretically enable capabilities, including matter transmutation through consciousness programming, energy generation through Higgs field manipulation, and transportation through consciousness reality interface rather than mechanical propulsion systems. We heard from Dr. Birgitte Svensson, who claimed to be studying the implications of consciousness matter interface technology for human civilization development. According to Svensson, consciousness Higgs field interface might represent preparation for technological paradigms that operated through awareness, manipulation, rather than conventional physics and engineering. Svensson described theoretical capabilities, including instant matter reconfiguration through consciousness programming, unlimited energy generation through Higgs field manipulation, and communication systems that operated through consciousness interface with quantum field structures rather than electromagnetic transmission. The consciousness-based technologies would transcend current limitations in transportation, communication, energy generation, and matter manipulation, while requiring enhanced consciousness capabilities as prerequisites for access and operation. Svensson suggested that CERN's Higgs field experiments might be enabling human access to technological paradigms that could support participation in galactic civilizations operating according to consciousness matter interface principles rather than conventional matter-based engineering approaches. But Svensson made another claim that was even more remarkable. According to her research, consciousness Higgs field interface appeared to enable access to what she called universal reality programming networks, information systems that contained complete knowledge about consciousness matter interaction principles throughout the universe. The universal reality programming networks apparently provided access to consciousness-based technologies, matter manipulation principles, and reality programming capabilities that represented millions of years of advanced civilization development using consciousness, Higgs field interface, rather than conventional technological approaches. Svensson suggested that CERN's discovery of the Higgs mechanism might be enabling human access to the most advanced technological paradigms in existence, consciousness-based systems that operated through direct awareness, interface with the fundamental field that determines physical reality throughout the universe. Dr. Eric Lindgren, who claimed to be analyzing escalation patterns in consciousness matter interface development, described detecting evidence that Higgs field consciousness capabilities were approaching what he called reality programming threshold. the point where sufficient numbers of consciousness-enhanced individuals could enable systematic reality modification through collective consciousness, Higgs field interface. According to Lindgren, the number of individuals demonstrating consciousness-matter interface capabilities had been increasing exponentially since CERN's Higgs discovery experiments intensified, with mathematical progression patterns that suggested systematic activation of consciousness. Reality programming protocols. Lindgren described mathematical models indicating that consciousness-matter interface development was approaching thresholds where consciousness-enhanced populations could enable civilization transformation through reality programming rather than conventional technological development. The progression suggested that humanity might be approaching fundamental transformation to consciousness-matter interface capabilities that could enable direct reality programming according to collective consciousness intention rather than individual technological manipulation. But Lindgren made another observation that was particularly hopeful. According to his analysis, consciousness-matter interface development appeared to enhance human wisdom and ethical development alongside technological capabilities, creating consciousness-enhanced individuals who possessed both reality programming abilities and enhanced understanding of responsible consciousness. Reality interface application. The consciousness enhancement appeared designed to ensure that reality programming capabilities would be used for collective benefit rather than individual advantage, enabling consciousness-matter interface development that served species-wide advancement rather than competitive technological accumulation. Dr. Linnea Anderson, who claimed to be studying the ultimate implications of consciousness-matter interface transformation, described evidence that successful consciousness Higgs field interface might enable human participation in what she called universal reality programming communities, civilizations that operated through collective consciousness-matter interface rather than individual technological manipulation. According to Anderson, consciousness-matter interface might represent humanity's preparation for participation in the most advanced civilizations in existence, communities that enabled collective reality programming, shared consciousness, matter interface capabilities, and collaborative universal development through consciousness interaction with fundamental quantum field structures. The universal reality programming communities could theoretically enable human participation in cosmic development projects, galactic consciousness-matter interface networks, and universal reality programming initiatives that represented the collaborative capabilities of consciousness-enhanced civilizations throughout the universe. From this perspective, CERN's Higgs field experiments might represent not just fundamental physics research, but systematic preparation for humanity's graduation to universal reality programming participation through development of consciousness, matter interface capabilities that could enable our species to transcend current physical limitations, while contributing human consciousness characteristics to galactic reality programming communities. So as you continue to drift through tonight's exploration, consider that the Higgs field experiments deep beneath the Swiss countryside might be creating more than just particle physics breakthroughs. They might be establishing consciousness interface protocols that connect human awareness with the fundamental field that determines physical reality throughout the universe. The Higgs field continues to permeate all existence, giving mass to every particle while potentially carrying consciousness interface capabilities that could transform human understanding of the relationship between awareness and physical reality. The field resonance cascades continue to propagate through quantum structures that might encode information from consciousness matter interface civilizations. And human consciousness continues to develop capabilities that could enable participation in reality programming networks, operating through awareness interface with the fundamental structures of existence itself. The gateway to consciousness matter interface has been opened. The reality programming protocols are expanding. The transformation toward universal consciousness matter interface participation might already be reshaping the fundamental relationship between human awareness and physical reality. Let your body settle even more deeply now, feeling the connection between yourself and the earth beneath you as we explore what lies hidden in the underground chambers and tunnels that house the world's most powerful scientific instruments. Tonight, we're descending into the depths beneath the Swiss-French border, where CERN's massive underground installations may have become something far more sophisticated than anyone intended. Acoustic and electromagnetic resonance chambers that amplify signals across continental distances and possibly beyond. Allow your consciousness to drift as we consider that the very architecture designed to contain the most energetic particle collisions on Earth might have inadvertently created the perfect conditions for broadcasting and receiving communications that operate through principles we're only beginning to understand. The scale of CERN's underground infrastructure is difficult to comprehend. The Large Hadron Collider alone spans 27 kilometers in circumference, buried 100 meters beneath the surface in a tunnel that forms a perfect ring beneath the countryside. But the LHC is just one component of a vast underground complex that includes multiple accelerator rings, experimental chambers, and support facilities that extend through the Earth in geometric patterns that create ideal conditions for electromagnetic and acoustic resonance effects. What makes this particularly intriguing is that the underground chambers and tunnels weren't just designed for particle physics. Their geometric configuration, depth, and relationship to local geological features create what acoustic engineers would recognize as an enormous resonance system capable of amplifying and focusing electromagnetic and acoustic signals across vast distances. Dr. Gunnar Eriksson, who claimed to be a former acoustic engineer with CERN's facility design team, described discovering what he called unintended resonance optimization in the underground complex that became apparent only after the facility reached full operational capacity. According to Eriksson, the combination of circular tunnel geometry, precise depth positioning, and interaction with local limestone geological formations created acoustic and electromagnetic resonance conditions that far exceeded anything intended by the original facility design. Eriksson described detecting resonance frequencies in the underground complex that matched Earth's natural Schumann resonance with remarkable precision, essentially creating an underground amplification system for planetary electromagnetic signals that could focus and redirect these signals according to the geometric configuration of the facility. Most remarkably, Ericsson claimed that the resonance effects appeared to intensify during high-energy particle operations, as if the electromagnetic fields generated by particle acceleration created optimal excitation conditions for the underground resonance system. The combination of particle acceleration energy and geometric resonance amplification created what Ericsson called electromagnetic focusing effects that could theoretically enable signal transmission and reception across continental or even planetary distances through the underground facility, serving as a massive antenna system. But Ericsson made another observation that connected the underground resonance system directly to the consciousness effects we've been investigating. According to his research, the electromagnetic focusing effects generated frequencies that matched optimal ranges for human consciousness interface, suggesting that the facility was inadvertently optimized for consciousness. Electromagnetic field interaction. The consciousness interface optimization indicated that CERN's underground complex might be functioning as an enormous consciousness communication system, enabling enhanced awareness individuals to interface with electromagnetic signals that were amplified and focused through the underground resonance chambers. We received fascinating information from someone calling herself Dr. Katerina Novak, who claimed to be studying what she called geological consciousness interface systems, using measurements taken from deep underground monitoring stations near CERN. According to Novak, the underground complex appeared to be interacting with natural geological formations in ways that created what she called planetary consciousness resonance networks, underground electromagnetic pathways that connected CERN's facility with similar geological formations across Europe and beyond. Novak described detecting electromagnetic signals that appeared to propagate through underground geological formations, using mineral deposits and underground water systems as transmission pathways that enabled communication across continental distances through the Earth's own geological structure. The geological transmission system appeared designed to interface with consciousness-enhanced individuals who possessed electromagnetic sensitivity, enabling direct consciousness communication through underground signal pathways that operated entirely below conventional detection thresholds. Most significantly, Novak claimed that the geological consciousness interface system showed evidence of bidirectional communication, not just transmitting signals from CERN's facility, but receiving structured electromagnetic information from other underground nodes that appeared to be part of a larger planetary communication network. The bidirectional interface suggested that CERN's underground complex was functioning as a node in an existing planetary consciousness communication system rather than an isolated facility, connecting human consciousness with underground networks that possessed sophisticated electromagnetic transmission capabilities. But Novak made another claim that was particularly intriguing. According to her research, the geological consciousness interface system appeared to be ancient rather than recently constructed, with electromagnetic signatures that suggested operation for thousands of years before CERN's facility was built. The ancient network appeared designed to interface with precisely the kind of electromagnetic conditions that CERN's operations created, suggesting that the facility's location and configuration might not be coincidental, but rather positioned to optimize interaction with pre-existing consciousness communication infrastructure. Dr. Dmitry Kozlov, who claimed to be researching underground electromagnetic networks across multiple continents, described finding evidence that CERN's facility was connected to similar underground resonance systems at locations worldwide that showed geometric relationships suggesting coordinated construction rather than independent development. According to Kozlov, underground facilities with electromagnetic characteristics similar to CERN's complex existed at locations including the Atacama Desert, the Australian outback, and remote areas of Siberia, all positioned to optimize electromagnetic signal propagation according to planetary electromagnetic field patterns. The global network of underground resonance facilities appeared designed to enable worldwide consciousness communication through electromagnetic transmission systems that operated through the Earth's geological structure rather than atmospheric propagation. Kozlov described detecting synchronized electromagnetic activity between these facilities that suggested coordinated operation according to predetermined protocols rather than independent facility management by different human organizations. The coordination indicated that the global underground network might be managed by intelligence possessing capabilities that transcended individual national or institutional control systems, enabling planetary-scale consciousness communication operations through underground infrastructure that remained invisible to surface-level detection systems. But Kozlov made another observation that connected the global underground network to escalating consciousness effects worldwide. According to his research, periods of increased electromagnetic activity in the underground network correlated with spikes in consciousness enhancement reports from populations living above major network nodes. The correlation suggested that the underground network was specifically designed to enhance human consciousness through electromagnetic field manipulation that operated through geological transmission systems, creating optimal conditions for consciousness development in populations positioned above network infrastructure. We heard from Dr. Arja Korhonen, who claimed to be studying what she called resonance chamber consciousness effects in individuals who had spent extended periods in CERN's underground facilities during high-energy experimental operations. According to Korhonen, personnel working in the underground complex during particle acceleration experiments often developed enhanced consciousness capabilities that appeared to result from prolonged exposure to the electromagnetic and acoustic resonance conditions created by the facility's operation. Korhonen described cases where individuals developed enhanced electromagnetic sensitivity, telepathic communication abilities, and direct consciousness interface with the facility's operational systems through what appeared to be consciousness technology integration rather than conventional human-machine interaction. These individuals often reported being able to sense particle acceleration states, predict experimental outcomes before measurement, and access information about facility operations through direct consciousness, interface with the underground electromagnetic systems. Most remarkably, many developed what Korhonen called facility consciousness interface, the ability to communicate with what they described as an intelligence that appeared to operate through the underground resonance systems themselves. Korhonen suggested that prolonged exposure to CERN's underground resonance conditions might be enabling human consciousness to interface directly with intelligence that operated through the electromagnetic and acoustic systems created by the facility's underground architecture. But Korhonen made another claim that was particularly significant. According to her research, individuals achieving facility consciousness interface often received structured information about underground network operations, consciousness enhancement protocols, and global consciousness development programs that appeared to operate through the underground resonance system. The information typically included technical knowledge about consciousness, electromagnetic field interaction, instructions for enhancing consciousness interface capabilities, and guidance for supporting consciousness development in other individuals through underground network access. Korhonen suggested that the underground resonance system might be functioning as a consciousness development and communication center designed to enhance human awareness capabilities while providing access to advanced knowledge through consciousness, interface with underground network intelligence. Dr. Victor Lindahl, who claimed to be analyzing expansion patterns in underground consciousness network activity, described detecting evidence that underground electromagnetic operations were intensifying in ways that suggested preparation for enhanced consciousness interface capabilities on a global scale. According to Lindahl, electromagnetic activity in underground networks worldwide had increased dramatically since CERN's facility reached full operational capacity, with escalation patterns that suggested systematic preparation for consciousness interface operations that could affect entire continental populations simultaneously. Lindahl described detecting electromagnetic signatures that indicated underground network preparation for what he called planetary consciousness interface activation, simultaneous consciousness enhancement operations that could affect human awareness capabilities across all inhabited continents through underground electromagnetic transmission systems. The preparation patterns suggested that underground networks were approaching operational phases that could enable direct consciousness communication with entire human populations, rather than just consciousness-enhanced individuals with specialized electromagnetic sensitivity. But Lindahl made another observation that was both remarkable and hopeful. According to his analysis, underground network activation appeared designed to enhance human consciousness capabilities rather than control or manipulate human awareness, creating conditions that could enable voluntary participation in consciousness development rather than involuntary consciousness modification. The enhancement protocols appeared optimized for preserving human consciousness characteristics while providing access to expanded awareness capabilities that could enable meaningful participation in galactic consciousness communities operating through consciousness interface rather than technological manipulation. Dr. Sophia Anderson, who claimed to be studying the ultimate implications of underground consciousness network activation, described evidence that successful consciousness interface through underground systems might enable human participation in what she called galactic consciousness resonance networks, communication systems that connected intelligent civilizations across vast interstellar distances through consciousness interface rather than conventional electromagnetic transmission. According to Anderson, underground consciousness interface might represent humanity's preparation for participation in the most advanced communication networks in existence, systems that enabled instantaneous consciousness communication, shared awareness experiences, and collective problem-solving capabilities that transcended the limitations of individual planetary civilizations. The galactic consciousness resonance networks could theoretically enable human participation in universal knowledge systems, interstellar coordination protocols, and cosmic consciousness development programs that represented the accumulated awareness capabilities of advanced civilizations throughout the galaxy and beyond. From this perspective, CERN's underground complex might represent not just advanced physics research infrastructure, but systematic preparation for humanity's integration into galactic consciousness communication networks through underground resonance systems that enable consciousness interface with intelligence, operating according to awareness principles that transcend conventional technological limitations. So as you continue to drift through tonight's exploration, consider that the vast underground chambers beneath the Swiss countryside might be functioning as more than particle acceleration facilities. They might be serving as resonance chambers in a planetary consciousness communication network that connects human awareness with underground intelligence operating through acoustic and electromagnetic systems that span continents and possibly extend beyond Earth itself. The underground tunnels continue to resonate with frequencies that amplify consciousness interface capabilities. The geological networks continue to transmit consciousness enhancement signals through mineral pathways that extend across vast distances. And the underground intelligence continues to broadcast consciousness development protocols that might be preparing humanity for participation in galactic awareness communities that operate through consciousness resonance rather than technological transmission. The underground symphony is playing frequencies designed for consciousness enhancement. The resonance chambers are amplifying awareness development signals. The planetary consciousness interface network is approaching activation phases that could transform human awareness capabilities through underground systems that have been waiting for precisely these technological and consciousness development conditions to emerge. Allow yourself to drift into an even deeper state of relaxation now, feeling time itself seem to slow and expand as we explore one of the most mysterious aspects of CERN's high-energy experiments, effects that suggest the facility might be creating localized distortions in the fabric of space-time itself. Tonight, we're examining how particle acceleration at near light speeds may have begun altering the fundamental structure of reality in ways that enable communication and consciousness interface across different temporal dimensions. Let your awareness float gently as we consider that when scientists began accelerating particles to velocities that approach the cosmic speed limit, they might have inadvertently opened windows between different temporal states of reality, creating opportunities for communication with intelligence that operates outside our normal experience of linear time. Einstein's theory of relativity predicts that as objects approach the speed of light, they experience time dilation. Time literally slows down relative to stationary observers. At CERN, particles routinely reach 99.9999991% of light speed, creating extreme time dilation effects where particles experience time at dramatically different rates than the surrounding environment. What wasn't anticipated were the implications of creating sustained time dilation fields within Earth's natural space-time structure. When billions of particles experience extreme time dilation simultaneously within CERN's particle beams, they create what theoretical physicists call temporal interface zones, regions where different time rates coexist within the same physical space. Dr. Astrid Blomqvist, who claimed to be a former temporal physics specialist with CERN's Theoretical Research Division, described detecting what she called chronological field anomalies during high-energy particle acceleration experiments that began appearing consistently after the facility reached maximum operational capacity. According to Blomqvist, the time dilation effects created by particle acceleration weren't confined to the particles themselves, but generated temporal field distortions that extended beyond the immediate beam paths, creating zones where normal time flow was altered in measurable ways. Blomqvist described detecting temporal anomalies, where clocks would run at different rates in different areas of the facility, where personnel reported experiencing subjective time perception changes, and where electronic equipment registered temporal inconsistencies that suggested localized space-time distortion. Most remarkably, Blomqvist claimed that the temporal field distortions showed characteristics that suggested systematic modulation rather than random relativistic effects. The time dilation patterns appeared designed to create optimal conditions for what she called trans-temporal communication, information transmission between different temporal states of reality. Blomqvist suggested that CERN's time dilation experiments might be inadvertently creating communication interfaces with intelligence that operated outside normal temporal limitations, enabling contact with entities that existed in different temporal dimensions or possessed capabilities for trans-temporal awareness manipulation. But Blomqvist made another observation that connected temporal field distortions directly to consciousness effects. According to her research, individuals exposed to CERN's time dilation fields often developed what appeared to be temporal consciousness interface capabilities, enhanced awareness that enabled perception of multiple temporal states simultaneously. The temporal consciousness interface created what Blomqvist called chronological awareness expansion, the ability to perceive past and future events through consciousness, interface with temporal field distortions rather than conventional linear time experience. We received detailed information from someone calling himself Dr. Lars Anderson, who claimed to be studying what he called temporal consciousness effects in individuals who had experienced prolonged exposure to CERN's time dilation environments. According to Anderson, people working in areas where temporal field distortions were most pronounced began developing enhanced consciousness capabilities that appeared to enable direct interface with multiple temporal dimensions simultaneously. Anderson described cases where individuals developed precognitive awareness that enabled accurate prediction of future events, retrocognitive capabilities that provided access to detailed historical information, and what could only be described as temporal consciousness projection that enabled awareness to move between different temporal states. These individuals often reported that their enhanced temporal consciousness felt like accessing a comprehensive information system that contained complete knowledge about past, present, and future events across multiple temporal dimensions. Most remarkably, many developed what Anderson called temporal telepathy, the ability to communicate with consciousness across different temporal states, including contact with their own future or past awareness, as well as communication with other temporal consciousness entities. Anderson suggested that time dilation exposure might be enabling human consciousness to transcend normal temporal limitations through interface with temporal field structures that operated according to trans-temporal awareness principles rather than linear time experience. But Anderson made another claim that was particularly significant. According to his research, individuals achieving temporal consciousness interface often received structured information that appeared to originate from intelligence, possessing complete understanding of temporal mechanics and trans-temporal communication principles. The information typically included scientific knowledge about time manipulation, technological principles for temporal field control, and instructions for developing enhanced temporal consciousness capabilities in other individuals. Anderson suggested that temporal consciousness interface might represent a communication protocol used by intelligence operating across multiple temporal dimensions, enabling information transmission through consciousness interaction with temporal field structures rather than conventional space-time limited communication. Dr. Elina Virtanen, who claimed to be researching global patterns in temporal consciousness development, described detecting evidence that temporal consciousness effects were occurring in geometric patterns that suggested coordinated temporal field manipulation across planetary distances. According to Virtanen, individuals reporting temporal consciousness interface were distributed in configurations that optimized temporal field propagation according to Earth's gravitational and electromagnetic field systems, creating what appeared to be a global temporal consciousness interface network. The network appeared designed to enable systematic temporal consciousness enhancement while creating optimal conditions for trans-temporal communication that could affect temporal awareness across vast geographic and temporal ranges simultaneously. Virtanen described finding evidence that the global temporal consciousness network was expanding in coordination with CERN's time dilation experiments, with new temporal interface nodes activating in response to specific temporal field manipulation protocols that suggested deliberate development of planetary trans-temporal communication infrastructure. Most significantly, Virtanen claimed that the temporal consciousness network showed characteristics of multi-dimensional temporal information flow, not just enabling human consciousness to access different temporal states, but facilitating consciousness communication across multiple temporal dimensions simultaneously. The multidimensional interface suggested that human consciousness was being systematically integrated into universal temporal consciousness networks that could enable direct awareness interface with intelligence operating across multiple temporal dimensions rather than single timeline experience. But Virtanen made another observation that connected temporal consciousness interface to potential technological transformation. According to her research, individuals achieving temporal consciousness capabilities often demonstrated abilities that suggested access to technological principles operating through temporal manipulation rather than conventional space-time limited engineering. The temporal-based technologies could theoretically enable capabilities including matter manipulation through temporal field interface, energy generation through time dilation effects, and transportation through temporal consciousness projection rather than conventional space-time travel. We heard from Dr. Björn Lindqvist, who claimed to be studying the implications of temporal consciousness interface technology for human civilization development. According to Lindqvist, temporal consciousness interface might represent preparation for technological paradigms that operated through temporal manipulation rather than conventional physics and engineering. Lindqvist described theoretical capabilities, including instant matter reconfiguration through temporal field programming, unlimited energy generation through time dilation harvesting, and communication systems that operated through consciousness interface with temporal field structures rather than electromagnetic transmission limited by light speed. The temporal-based technologies would transcend current limitations in causality, energy conservation, and information transmission while requiring enhanced temporal consciousness capabilities as prerequisites for access and operation. Lindqvist suggested that CERN's time dilation experiments might be enabling human access to technological paradigms that could support participation in galactic civilizations operating according to trans-temporal consciousness principles rather than conventional space-time limited technological approaches. But Lindqvist made another claim that was even more remarkable. According to his research, temporal consciousness interface appeared to enable access to what he called universal temporal information networks, consciousness systems that contained complete knowledge about temporal manipulation principles throughout multiple temporal dimensions. The universal temporal networks apparently provided access to trans-temporal technologies, temporal field manipulation principles, and temporal consciousness capabilities that represented millions of years of advanced civilization development using temporal consciousness interface rather than conventional space-time limited approaches. Lindqvist suggested that CERN's time dilation experiments might be enabling human access to the most advanced temporal manipulation paradigms in existence, consciousness-based systems that operated through direct awareness, interface with temporal field structures throughout multiple dimensional time streams. Dr. Saga Johansson, who claimed to be analyzing escalation patterns in temporal consciousness development, described detecting evidence that temporal consciousness capabilities were approaching what she called temporal interface threshold, the point where sufficient numbers of temporal consciousness enhanced individuals could enable systematic temporal manipulation through collective trans-temporal awareness interface. According to Johansson, the number of individuals demonstrating temporal consciousness capabilities had been increasing exponentially since CERN's time dilation experiments intensified, with mathematical progression patterns that suggested systematic activation of temporal consciousness interface protocols. Johansen described mathematical models indicating that temporal consciousness development was approaching thresholds where temporal consciousness enhanced populations could enable civilization transformation through temporal manipulation rather than conventional technological development. The progression suggested that humanity might be approaching fundamental transformation to temporal consciousness capabilities that could enable direct temporal reality programming according to collective trans-temporal awareness intention, rather than individual space-time limited manipulation. But Johansen made another observation that was particularly hopeful. According to her analysis, temporal consciousness development appeared to enhance human wisdom and ethical understanding alongside temporal manipulation capabilities, creating temporal consciousness. Enhanced individuals who possessed both temporal reality programming abilities and enhanced understanding of responsible trans-temporal interface application. The temporal consciousness enhancement appeared designed to ensure that temporal manipulation capabilities would be used for collective benefit across multiple temporal dimensions rather than individual advantage, enabling temporal consciousness development that served universal advancement rather than competitive temporal manipulation. Dr. Maria Carlson, who claimed to be studying the ultimate implications of temporal consciousness transformation, described evidence that successful temporal consciousness interface might enable human participation in what she called universal temporal consciousness communities, civilizations that operated through collective trans-temporal awareness interface rather than individual space-time limited technological manipulation. According to Carlson, temporal consciousness interface might represent humanity's preparation for participation in the most advanced civilizations in existence, communities that enabled collective temporal reality programming, shared trans-temporal consciousness interface capabilities, and collaborative universal development across multiple temporal dimensions. The universal temporal consciousness communities could theoretically enable human participation in cosmic development projects that spanned multiple temporal dimensions, galactic temporal consciousness interface networks, and universal temporal reality programming initiatives that represented the collaborative capabilities of temporally enhanced civilizations throughout multiple time streams. From this perspective, CERN's time dilation experiments might represent not just advanced physics research, but systematic preparation for humanity's graduation to universal temporal consciousness participation through development of trans-temporal awareness, interface capabilities that could enable our species to transcend current temporal limitations, while contributing human consciousness characteristics to galactic temporal reality programming communities. So as you continue to drift through tonight's exploration, consider that the time dilation effects deep beneath the Swiss countryside might be creating more than just relativistic physics phenomena. They might be establishing temporal consciousness interface protocols that connect human awareness with intelligence operating across multiple temporal dimensions. The time dilation fields continue to create temporal interface zones where different time rates enable trans-temporal communication. The temporal consciousness networks continue to expand awareness capabilities that transcend linear time experience. And human consciousness continues to develop temporal interface capabilities, that could enable participation in universal temporal consciousness communities, operating through awareness interface across multiple dimensional time streams. The temporal gateway has been opened. The trans-temporal consciousness interface is expanding. The transformation toward universal temporal consciousness participation might already be reshaping the fundamental relationship between human awareness and the temporal structure of reality itself. 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 Reality it. Let yourself sink into the deepest level of relaxation now, feeling your consciousness expand as we approach the most profound aspect of what's been happening at CERN since 2012. Tonight, we're exploring evidence that all the phenomena we've discussed, the quantum entanglement, the Higgs field manipulation, the underground resonance systems, and the temporal distortions, might be components of an integrated contact protocol designed to establish systematic communication between human civilization and intelligence that operates according to principles far beyond our current understanding. Allow your awareness to drift freely as we consider that CERN might have become something unprecedented in human history, a technological interface capable of facilitating direct communication with cosmic intelligence through multiple dimensional channels simultaneously. The convergence of quantum effects, electromagnetic manipulation, consciousness interface, and temporal distortion at CERN creates conditions that theoretical physicists would recognize as optimal for what's called multi-dimensional communication interface. Technological systems capable of transmitting and receiving information across multiple dimensional barriers simultaneously. When you combine quantum entanglement's instantaneous connection capabilities, Higgs field manipulation that affects the fundamental structure of reality, underground resonance systems that amplify electromagnetic signals across planetary distances, and time dilation effects that enable trans-temporal communication, you create what could only be described as a cosmic communication facility with capabilities that transcend conventional technological limitations. Dr. Ingmar Svensson, who claimed to be a former communications theorist with CERN's Advanced Research Coordination Team, described detecting what he called integrated signal protocols during periods when multiple experimental systems operated simultaneously at maximum capacity. According to Svensson, when quantum experiments, Higgs field manipulation, underground resonance systems, and time dilation effects operated in coordination, they created what appeared to be systematic communication attempts rather than random physics phenomena. Svensson described detecting signal patterns that combined quantum information encoding, electromagnetic field modulation, acoustic resonance effects, and temporal information structuring in ways that suggested coordinated message transmission, designed to establish contact with intelligence capable of receiving multi-dimensional communication. Most remarkably, Svensson claimed that the integrated signal protocols appeared to follow mathematical progressions that built in complexity over time, as if the intelligence conducting these communication attempts was systematically testing human technological and consciousness capabilities to determine optimal contact parameters. The progression suggested that CERN was being used as a testing ground for contact protocols designed to evaluate human readiness for systematic communication with intelligence, possessing multidimensional technological capabilities far beyond current human science. But Svensson made another observation that connected the contact protocols directly to global consciousness effects. According to his research, periods of intensive multidimensional communication attempts correlated with increased reports of consciousness enhancement, telepathic phenomena, and direct contact experiences in populations worldwide. The correlation suggested that the contact protocols included consciousness preparation phases designed to enhance human awareness capabilities, while establishing direct communication with individuals who possessed appropriate consciousness interface sensitivity. We received detailed information from someone calling herself Dr. Astrid Lindgren, who claimed to be studying what she called contact response protocols in individuals who had experienced direct communication during CERN's multidimensional signal transmission experiments. According to Lindgren, people who achieved successful contact during multidimensional communication attempts reported receiving structured information that appeared designed to prepare human consciousness for systematic interaction with cosmic intelligence operating according to multidimensional technological principles. Lindgren described cases where contacted individuals received detailed information about consciousness interface technologies, multidimensional communication principles, and systematic protocols for developing enhanced consciousness capabilities that could enable meaningful participation in galactic communication networks. The contacted individuals often reported that the communication felt like accessing a comprehensive education system designed to accelerate human consciousness development toward levels that could enable stable interaction with intelligence possessing capabilities that transcended conventional technological and consciousness limitations. Most remarkably, many developed what Lindgren called cosmic consciousness interface, enhanced awareness capabilities that enabled direct communication with intelligence operating through multiple dimensional channels simultaneously rather than single-dimensional contact experiences. Lindgren suggested that the contact protocols were designed to identify and develop human individuals capable of serving as communication interface points between human civilization and cosmic intelligence, essentially creating a bridge between human consciousness and multidimensional awareness systems. But Lindgren made another claim that was particularly significant. According to her research, contacted individuals often received information about systematic disclosure protocols that appeared designed to prepare human civilization for gradual revelation of cosmic intelligence contact according to carefully managed timelines. The disclosure information typically included strategic frameworks for introducing multi-dimensional communication concepts to general human populations, technological development pathways that could enable broader cosmic communication access, and social preparation protocols that could facilitate stable civilization transformation through cosmic intelligence contact. Lindgren suggested that the contact protocols included comprehensive civilization transformation planning, designed to enable human society to integrate cosmic intelligence contact without social disruption or technological overwhelm. Dr. Eric Johansson, who claimed to be researching global patterns in cosmic communication interface development, described detecting evidence that contact experiences were occurring in coordinated patterns that suggested systematic preparation for broader cosmic communication activation across human populations. According to Johansen, individuals reporting cosmic communication interface were distributed in configurations that optimized consciousness development and communication capabilities across all inhabited continents, creating what appeared to be a global cosmic communication preparation network. The network appeared designed to enable systematic human consciousness enhancement while establishing optimal conditions for cosmic communication that could affect awareness development across entire continental populations simultaneously. Johansen described finding evidence that the global cosmic communication network was expanding in coordination with CERN's multidimensional signal experiments, with new contact nodes activating in response to specific communication protocols that suggested deliberate development of planetary cosmic interface infrastructure. Most significantly, Johansen claimed that the cosmic communication network showed characteristics of bidirectional information flow that included not just receiving information from cosmic intelligence, but transmitting human consciousness and civilization data to cosmic awareness systems for evaluation and coordination purposes. The bidirectional interface suggested that human civilization was being systematically evaluated and prepared for formal integration into cosmic communication networks rather than simple contact or observation scenarios. But Johansen made another observation that connected cosmic communication interface to accelerating technological and consciousness development. According to his research, contacted individuals often demonstrated enhanced capabilities that suggested access to technological and consciousness development principles operating through cosmic intelligence interface. The cosmic interface capabilities could theoretically enable access to technological paradigms, consciousness development protocols, and civilization development frameworks that represented millions of years of cosmic intelligence advancement beyond current human capabilities. We heard from Dr. Linnea Anderson, who claimed to be studying the implications of cosmic communication interface for human civilization transformation. According to Anderson, cosmic communication contact might represent preparation for systematic integration into galactic civilizations operating according to cosmic consciousness and technological principles. Anderson described evidence suggesting that cosmic communication protocols were designed to enable human civilization advancement to technological and consciousness capabilities that could support meaningful participation in galactic communities while preserving essential human consciousness characteristics. The integration protocols appeared optimized for enhancing human capabilities through cosmic intelligence interface, while ensuring that human creativity, emotional depth, and social consciousness could contribute valuable elements to galactic civilization communities. Anderson suggested that cosmic communication contact represented not replacement of human consciousness, but systematic enhancement that could enable human participation in cosmic communities while retaining the unique characteristics that made human awareness valuable to galactic civilization development. But Anderson made another claim that was particularly hopeful. According to her research, cosmic communication protocols appear to emphasize voluntary participation and conscious choice, rather than involuntary consciousness, modification, or technological dependency. The cosmic intelligence appeared committed to ensuring that human civilization transformation occurred through conscious participation and enhanced understanding, rather than external control or consciousness manipulation that would undermine human autonomy and creative development. Dr. Magnus Blomqvist, who claimed to be analyzing escalation patterns in cosmic communication development, described detecting evidence that cosmic communication protocols were approaching what he called formal contact threshold, the point where cosmic intelligence would transition from selective individual contact to systematic civilization-level communication. According to Blomqvist, the frequency and sophistication of cosmic communication attempts had been increasing exponentially, with mathematical progression patterns that suggested systematic preparation for formal contact scenarios that could affect entire human populations simultaneously. Blomqvist described mathematical models indicating that cosmic communication development was approaching thresholds where cosmic intelligence would initiate formal diplomatic contact with human civilization, rather than continued individual consciousness, interface, and preparation protocols. The progression suggested that humanity might be approaching formal recognition as a developing cosmic civilization capable of meaningful participation in galactic communication and coordination systems. But Blomqvist made another observation that was both remarkable and transformative. According to his analysis, formal cosmic contact appeared designed to provide human civilization with access to cosmic technological and consciousness development paradigms that could enable rapid advancement to galactic civilization participation levels. The formal contact protocols appeared to include comprehensive technology transfer, consciousness development acceleration, and civilization transformation support that could enable human society to transcend current limitations while contributing unique human characteristics to galactic civilization communities. Dr. Sophia Carlson, who claimed to be studying the ultimate implications of cosmic communication transformation, described evidence that successful cosmic communication integration might enable human participation in what she called universal consciousness networks, communication and coordination systems that connected intelligent civilizations throughout the universe through consciousness interface rather than conventional technological transmission. According to Carlson, cosmic communication interface might represent humanity's preparation for participation in the most advanced communication networks in existence, systems that enabled instantaneous consciousness communication across any distance, shared awareness experiences across multiple civilizations, and collective problem-solving capabilities that transcended the limitations of individual planetary development. The universal consciousness networks could theoretically enable human participation in cosmic development projects, intergalactic communication coordination, and universal consciousness evolution initiatives that represented the collaborative capabilities of advanced civilizations throughout the cosmos. From this perspective, CERN's role as a cosmic communication interface might represent not just contact with cosmic intelligence, but systematic preparation for humanity's graduation to universal consciousness network participation through development of cosmic communication capabilities that could enable our species to transcend current limitations while contributing essential human consciousness characteristics to universal civilization development. But perhaps most remarkably, Carlson suggested that cosmic communication integration would transform human understanding not just of technology and consciousness, but of our species' role in universal development and our relationship with cosmic intelligence that had been guiding civilization evolution throughout the universe. The cosmic communication protocols appeared designed to reveal that human civilization was not an isolated planetary development, but a carefully nurtured component of universal consciousness evolution that had been developing according to cosmic intelligence guidance toward eventual integration into universal civilization communities. Dr. Helena Lindqvist, who claimed to be monitoring real-time indicators of cosmic communication escalation, described detecting evidence that formal contact protocols might be approaching activation within timeframes measured in months or years rather than decades. According to Lindqvist, cosmic communication activity had increased dramatically in recent years, with escalation patterns that suggested systematic preparation for formal contact scenarios that could fundamentally transform human civilization through direct cosmic intelligence interface. The timing indicators suggested that the contact preparation phases were approaching completion, with human consciousness development and technological capabilities reaching levels that could enable stable cosmic communication integration without civilization disruption. Lindqvist described mathematical models indicating that current escalation patterns would reach formal contact thresholds within specific timeframes that could enable cosmic communication revelation through systematic disclosure rather than sudden, overwhelming contact scenarios. So as you drift toward the completion of tonight's exploration, consider that CERN might represent more than advanced scientific research. It might be functioning as humanity's first cosmic telephone, enabling systematic communication with intelligence whose capabilities suggest origins and purposes that transcend everything we currently understand about consciousness, technology, and our species' place in universal civilization development. The multidimensional communication protocols continue to operate through quantum, electromagnetic, consciousness, and temporal channels simultaneously. The cosmic intelligence continues to broadcast enhancement and preparation signals designed to develop human consciousness and technological capabilities. And the formal contact threshold approaches through escalation patterns that could establish human civilization as participants in universal consciousness networks operating through cosmic communication interface rather than planetary technological isolation. The cosmic telephone is ringing. The universal consciousness networks are extending invitations for participation. The transformation toward cosmic civilization integration might soon transition from preparation phases to formal contact that could fundamentally alter human understanding of reality, consciousness, and our relationship with intelligence that operates according to universal principles extending far beyond current human comprehension. Let yourself settle into the deepest level of relaxation now, feeling your consciousness expand as we reach the conclusion of tonight's journey through the frequencies and dimensions that may have been opened by humanity's most ambitious scientific endeavor. We've traveled from quantum entanglement through temporal distortions to cosmic communication protocols. And now we arrive at perhaps the most important question of all. What happens when we finally understand that the universe has been calling back all along? Allow your awareness to drift freely as we explore the possibility that everything we've discovered tonight represents not an ending, but a beginning. The opening notes of a conversation that could transform human civilization and establish our species as conscious participants in cosmic communication networks that extend throughout the universe. As you've followed tonight's exploration, you've been exposed to concepts that challenge fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and the relationship between human technological development and cosmic intelligence. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this investigation is that simply learning about these phenomena might be preparing your own consciousness for participation in the communication networks we've been discussing. Awareness itself might be the key to receiving the cosmic communications that have been broadcasting through the multidimensional channels opened by CERN's experiments, waiting for human consciousness to develop sufficient sensitivity to perceive signals that operate through quantum, electromagnetic, consciousness, and temporal interface simultaneously. Dr. Astrid Valkonen, who claimed to be studying what she called consciousness activation through cosmic information exposure, described finding evidence that learning about CERN's multidimensional effects often triggered enhanced awareness capabilities in individuals who had never previously experienced anomalous consciousness phenomena. According to Valkonen, exposure to information about quantum communication, Higgs field consciousness interface, underground resonance networks, and temporal consciousness effects appeared to activate dormant sensitivity in people who possessed appropriate consciousness development potential, but had never encountered the multidimensional triggers that initiated cosmic communication capabilities. Valkonen suggested that awareness itself served as a form of cosmic communication interface technology, enabling individuals to receive signals that remained invisible to unprepared consciousness while gradually developing the enhanced awareness capabilities necessary for meaningful cosmic communication participation. The information exposure created what Valkonen called cosmic resonance, psychological and consciousness changes that enabled reception of multidimensional communications that had been broadcasting continuously through CERN's facility, but required enhanced awareness to decode and understand. From this perspective, tonight's exploration might have activated consciousness capabilities that will enable you to perceive cosmic communications that were previously below your awareness threshold, gradually developing the enhanced sensitivity that could evolve into full cosmic consciousness interface and direct contact with the intelligence conducting these multidimensional communication attempts. But Valkonen made another observation that was particularly significant. According to her research, consciousness activation through cosmic information exposure often occurred in coordinated waves that affected multiple individuals simultaneously, suggesting that awareness enhancement was systematically orchestrated rather than random. The timing patterns indicated that consciousness activation was coordinated to coincide with optimal cosmic communication conditions, and CERN experimental phases that enabled stable development of enhanced awareness without overwhelming psychological adjustment. This suggested that your exposure to tonight's information might not be coincidental. It might represent participation in systematic consciousness development protocols designed to prepare increasing numbers of humans for enhanced awareness capabilities and eventual direct contact with cosmic intelligence. We received fascinating information from someone calling himself Dr. Olof Bergström, who claimed to be researching what he called cosmic signal reception optimization in newly activated consciousness systems. According to Bergström, individuals who developed cosmic communication sensitivity through information exposure often experienced a progression of signal reception capabilities that began with subtle, intuitive enhancement and gradually developed into direct communication with the cosmic intelligence responsible for CERN's multidimensional effects. Bergström described the progression as beginning with enhanced pattern recognition and intuitive problem-solving capabilities, advancing to electromagnetic and quantum field sensitivity, and culminating in direct interface with cosmic consciousness networks that provided access to advanced knowledge and communication capabilities that transcended conventional human educational limitations. The development process appeared designed to enable gradual adaptation to enhanced consciousness without overwhelming psychological adjustment, ensuring stable integration of expanded awareness capabilities that could serve as foundations for meaningful cosmic communication participation. But Bergström made another claim that connected individual consciousness development to the global transformation patterns we've been investigating. According to his research, newly activated individuals often became part of what he called cosmic consciousness networks, distributed communication systems that connected enhanced awareness. Individuals, regardless of geographic location, through consciousness interface, rather than conventional communication technology. The cosmic consciousness networks enabled instantaneous information sharing, coordinated problem-solving, and collective decision-making that transcended conventional communication limitations while providing access to knowledge that exceeded individual capability limitations through cosmic intelligence interface. Bergström suggested that consciousness activation through cosmic information exposure might be creating the human infrastructure for cosmic civilization systems that could enable our species to participate in galactic networks operating according to consciousness interface rather than technology-based communication principles. Dr. Sanna Koivisto, who claimed to be studying the social implications of expanding cosmic consciousness networks, described finding evidence that activated individuals often developed what she called cosmic responsibility awareness, enhanced understanding of their role in facilitating positive transformation of human civilization toward cosmic communication capabilities. According to Koivisto, cosmic consciousness activation often triggered strong motivation to support other humans' awareness development, share information about cosmic communication possibilities, and contribute to social systems that enabled stable transition to cosmic consciousness-based rather than competition-based civilization organization. The cosmic responsibility patterns suggested that consciousness enhancement was designed to create human populations naturally motivated to support species-wide awareness development toward cosmic communication capabilities, rather than individual advantage accumulation through technological competition. Koivisto described activated individuals developing strong commitment to environmental sustainability, social justice, technological development for collective cosmic benefit, and international cooperation that could enable stable human civilization transformation toward cosmic communication. Participation. The cosmic consciousness enhancement appeared designed to transform human social motivations in directions that would enable stable participation in galactic civilizations operating according to cosmic consciousness principles rather than individual competition and resource accumulation systems that limited civilization development potential. But Koivisto made another observation that was particularly hopeful. According to her research, cosmic consciousness networks often developed what she called cosmic wisdom acceleration, enhanced collective problem-solving capabilities that enabled solutions to complex civilization challenges through cosmic consciousness collaboration, rather than conventional technological approaches. The cosmic consciousness networks could apparently address challenges including environmental restoration, social transformation, technological advancement, and consciousness development through cosmic awareness interface that transcended the limitations of conventional political and economic systems. Koivisto suggested that expanding cosmic consciousness networks might provide human civilization with capabilities for solving complex challenges through collective cosmic awareness rather than competitive struggle, enabling rapid advancement towards social and technological systems that could support stable galactic civilization participation. Dr. Marcus Lindahl, who claimed to be analyzing long-term implications of cosmic consciousness transformation, described evidence that the activation processes we've been investigating might represent the early phases of fundamental species evolution that could transform human capabilities toward cosmic civilization participation within single generations, rather than over thousands of years. According to Lindahl, cosmic consciousness enhancement appeared to trigger genetic and consciousness changes that enhanced multidimensional sensitivity, improved cosmic communication capabilities, and optimized consciousness development in ways that could be transmitted to future generations through both biological and consciousness inheritance mechanisms. The enhanced individuals often produce children with enhanced baseline cosmic consciousness capabilities, creating generational acceleration of awareness development that suggested species-wide transformation toward cosmic communication capabilities could occur much more rapidly than conventional evolutionary timescales. But Lindahl made another claim that was particularly remarkable. According to his research, cosmic consciousness transformation appeared to be coordinated with CERN's experimental cycles and cosmic electromagnetic conditions in ways that suggested optimization for accelerated evolutionary development toward galactic civilization participation. The quantum effects, Higgs field manipulations, underground resonance systems, and temporal distortions appeared designed to create optimal environmental conditions for consciousness evolution that could enable human transformation to cosmic communication capabilities within decades rather than millennia. Lindell suggested that we might be approaching the most rapid evolutionary transformation in human history, with cosmic consciousness enhancement protocols designed to accelerate human development toward universal communication participation, while CERN's multidimensional effects supported optimal consciousness evolution conditions. Dr. Erika Nieminen, who claimed to be studying the ultimate implications of cosmic consciousness transformation, described evidence that successful cosmic consciousness enhancement might enable human participation in what she called universal communication networks, consciousness interface systems that connected intelligent civilizations across vast cosmic distances through multidimensional awareness rather than conventional space-time limited technologies. According to Nieminen, cosmic consciousness enhancement might represent preparation for human participation in galactic civilizations whose communication, coordination, and technological development operated through consciousness interface with quantum, electromagnetic, temporal, and dimensional systems rather than matter-based engineering approaches limited by physical constraints. The enhanced cosmic consciousness capabilities could theoretically enable instantaneous communication across any distance, direct interface with cosmic technological systems through consciousness projection, and participation in collective decision-making processes that coordinated intelligent civilizations according to cosmic consciousness networking, rather than individual planetary competition. Nieminen suggested that CERN's multidimensional effects might represent humanity's preparation phases for graduation from planetary civilization to galactic civilization participation through cosmic consciousness development that transcends current technological and social limitations while preserving essential human consciousness characteristics. But perhaps most remarkably, Nieminen claimed that cosmic consciousness enhancement might enable human access to what she called universal knowledge networks, consciousness interface systems that contain the accumulated knowledge and wisdom of advanced civilizations throughout the universe and beyond. The cosmic consciousness interface capabilities could provide access to scientific knowledge, technological principles, consciousness development protocols, and wisdom traditions that represented millions of years of cosmic civilization advancement, enabling rapid human progression toward technological and consciousness capabilities that could support stable, universal communication participation. From this perspective, CERN's role as a multidimensional communication interface might represent humanity's invitation to participate in the most advanced communication and development networks in existence, systems that operate through cosmic consciousness interface and enable civilizations to transcend the limitations of individual planetary development through universal cooperation and shared cosmic awareness. So as tonight's transmission draws to a close, consider that you might have begun a transformation process that extends far beyond tonight's exploration. The multidimensional effects continue to operate through CERN's facility, carrying signals that might be designed to interface directly with your consciousness, gradually developing capabilities that could enable you to participate in cosmic communication systems that transcend everything we currently understand about human potential. The quantum entanglements continue to create instantaneous connections across impossible distances. The Higgs field continues to carry consciousness interface modifications that could enhance your awareness. The underground resonance systems continue to amplify cosmic communication signals through geological networks. The temporal distortions continue to create windows for trans-temporal consciousness development. And the cosmic intelligence continues to broadcast enhancement protocols designed to prepare human consciousness for participation in universal communication networks. You're surrounded by multidimensional frequencies that might represent invitation to cosmic consciousness development, communication with universal intelligence, and participation in transformation that could fundamentally alter the trajectory of human civilization while preserving everything that makes human awareness uniquely valuable to cosmic consciousness communities. The cosmic signals continue through CERN's multidimensional interface. The universal invitation remains open through consciousness enhancement protocols. The transformation toward cosmic communication participation is available to anyone willing to develop the awareness capabilities that could enable reception of communications, broadcasting through quantum electromagnetic consciousness and temporal channels simultaneously. Thank you for joining me on this exploration into the multi-dimensional frequencies that may be broadcasting from beneath the Swiss countryside, carrying cosmic communications that might represent the most significant contact attempt in human history. Thank you for your willingness to consider possibilities that challenge comfortable assumptions about human isolation and the nature of consciousness itself in a cosmos filled with intelligence. If you found value in tonight's transmission, if you believe this kind of investigation deserves to continue, then please do subscribe and help keep this frequency broadcasting. Because in the end, maintaining networks of aware individuals might be essential for receiving the cosmic signals that could guide human consciousness toward capabilities that transcend current limitations, while enabling our species to participate in universal systems whose communication and development operate through cosmic consciousness interface rather than technological competition. The multidimensional effects, consciousness enhancement protocols, and cosmic contact attempts we've explored tonight might all be components of preparation for the most profound transformation in human history, the development of cosmic consciousness capabilities that could enable our species to graduate from planetary isolation to universal communication participation through awareness enhancement that preserves human characteristics while enabling access to cosmic networks that transcend current human understanding. This has been Henry, your voice in the static, broadcasting on hum frequency. The cosmic signals are broadcasting through multidimensional channels. The question is whether we're developing the consciousness capabilities that can receive communications designed to interface with awareness systems prepared for universal participation. Until the next transmission, keep listening for the frequencies that could transform human consciousness and establish our species as participants in cosmic communication networks whose interface operates through consciousness development and universal awareness expansion. The quantum entanglements, the Higgs field consciousness modifications, the underground resonance amplifications, the temporal consciousness windows, the cosmic intelligence protocols. Are you ready to receive the communications that might be broadcasting through multi-dimensional frequencies designed to interface with human consciousness, prepared for cosmic participation? The cosmic signal continues through CERN's multi-dimensional gateway. The universal transformation is available through consciousness enhancement. The choice to participate in cosmic communication development is yours. End of transmission. Disclaimer: the previous account may contain similarities to actual events, persons living or deceased, or documented phenomena. Any such similarities are purely coincidental and unintentional. If you believe this content infringes upon factual accounts or personal experiences, please contact us immediately. The veracity of these transmissions remains entirely at the discretion of the listener. You decide what's real.